In the third year of her marriage, on the day Caleb Hampton's older brother was laid to rest, Sydney Wilson asked for a divorce. Caleb frowned. All because I took a slap for Penny. Penny. The way he said her name was soft. Protective. Sydney smiled faintly. Yes, that's enough. Could one slap end a marriage? No. But finding out your husband has loved someone else for 3 years can. 3 days earlier their anniversary. Sydney had planned a surprise. A late-night flight, a hotel key in her purse, a smile ready for him. Instead, she heard everything. Running away every anniversary. That's harsh. Sydney's been good to you. Caleb sighed. If I don't avoid her, she'll never believe I haven't crossed the line all these years. Penelope. His friend snapped. She's your sister-in-law. She has a child. Caleb said calmly. Sydney chose me. That ended things with Julian. He blocked her 3 years ago. Outside the door, Sydney stood still. So, that was it. She had searched for months, wondering who lived in his heart. She never imagined it was the woman she had politely called sister-in-law. Humiliating. That night, rain poured over her as she walked alone. She didn't even notice. She flew home. She got sick. 2 days later, Lucas Hampton had an accident. A week after that, he was buried. The Hampton family was in chaos. Lucas had been the pride of the family. He died after insisting on a risky activity with Penelope. The equipment failed. No one could change what followed. Blame filled the house. Sydney didn't stay to watch her husband protect another woman again. At the cemetery gate, she got into the car. Take me home, she told the driver. The door opened again. Caleb stood there in black. Perfectly composed. Almost cold. Behind him stood Penelope. And her son. Aunt Sydney, can Mommy and I go with you? The little boy asked sweetly. Sydney looked at Caleb. My parents are furious, he said quietly. Let Penny and Timmy stay with us for now. Stay. With them. Seeing Sydney's silence, he added lightly, you always wanted a child. You can practice with Timmy. Practice. Sydney almost laughed. So this was his solution. Protect the woman he loved. Send her into his wife's house. How thoughtful. That night, Sydney slept deeply, for the first time in days. At 9 p.m., her phone rang. It was Tiffany. The divorce papers are ready. Want to review them? No need, Sydney said calmly. Send them over. You're really doing this? Tiffany asked carefully. Caleb isn't perfect, but... Sydney turned on the lamp. Her eyes were clear. I'm sure. She paused. I saw him alone in his study, holding another woman's photo like it meant everything. Silence filled the line. That was the moment she knew. 3 years of marriage. 3 years of pretending. 3 years of loving someone who never chose her. One slap didn't end the marriage. But the truth did. What? Tiffany froze for a second. She never expected someone as composed as Sydney to say something like that. But what shocked her more was Caleb's audacity. Forget delivery, Tiffany snapped. I'm bringing the papers myself. There was no way she was letting a courier beat her to this. After hanging up, Sydney sat still. The words had come out too easily. Maybe because the resentment had been building for 3 years. 3 years of marriage. 3 years of distance. 3 years of a husband who had never truly chosen her. At the club that night, Caleb had said to himself he had never crossed the line with her. No one would believe it. But after 3 years of marriage, she was still untouched. At first, she wondered if something was wrong. Later, she realized the truth. More than once, she had seen him alone in his study, staring at a photo album like it meant everything to him. His expression was raw, unguarded, nothing like the calm husband he showed the world. When he once noticed her standing there, he pulled her close and whispered, Sid, I just didn't want to hurt you. I was afraid. She had believed him. She had even blushed. What a joke. The night she returned early from her trip, still weak from fever, she unlocked his cabinet. Inside was the album. Every page filled with Penelope. Smiling. Laughing. Alive. Treasured. Sydney stood there for a long time. She had never felt so foolish. The doorbell rang. Tiffany arrived like a storm. If the courthouse was open right now, I'd drag you both there, she declared. Sydney felt steadier, holding the agreement. Then, crash. A sharp sound echoed upstairs. Nancy rushed down. Miss Wilson, Timmy broke the photo in your bedroom. Sydney assumed it was just a frame, until she saw the pieces. Her parents had died when she was 5. That photo was the only thing she had left of them. Her fingers tightened around the shattered glass. She walked upstairs slowly. At the top, Penelope stepped out, holding her son. That was my room, Sydney said calmly. Uncle Caleb said this is my home now. Timothy puffed proudly. He said he'll take care of Mommy and me. Sydney looked at Penelope. No correction, no apology. She crouched down to Timothy's level. Do you know what happens to children who break other people's things? She asked gently. He grinned. Nothing. She smiled sweetly. They lose their Christmas gifts. The boy's face fell instantly. He burst into tears and buried his face in his mother's shoulder. Penelope glared. He's just a child. And you're the adult, Sydney replied coolly. Act like one. She turned and walked away. That night, a black Maybach rolled into the driveway. Sydney stood by the window. Timothy ran to Caleb. Penelope followed. Under the lights, they looked like a perfect family. Caleb knocked and entered. You scared Timmy? He asked. I did. Sydney replied evenly. He destroyed my family photo. Caleb froze. For the first time, uncertainty crossed his face. He reached to touch her hair. She stepped back, thinking she was upset. He softened. That's my responsibility. I'll make it up to you. Tell me what you want. Sydney handed him the documents. Anything. She asked lightly. Of course. He glanced at the property transfer and signed without hesitation. The second document, he flipped to the last page and signed just as quickly. Money was never a problem for him. After signing, he pulled her gently into his arms. Sid, how did your brother raise you to be this understanding? Understanding. The word almost made her laugh. A knock interrupted them. Caleb stepped away immediately when he saw Penelope. Cal, Timmy won't sleep without you, she said softly. I'm coming. He turned back to Sydney. You're not upset, right? Not at all, she replied. He left. The door closed. Sydney picked up the second document again. It wasn't just another agreement. It was the divorce paper. Yes, she was obedient. So obedient that she had prepared her own exit and handed it to him to sign.